Well, for once, I am not covering VTubers today, but rather stan accounts known as virus accounts who are simply fan accounts that are promoting their favorite corporate VTuber. I'm not gonna mince my words here, guys. There's a 20-year-old who admitted to sending explicit, non-consensual fantasies directed at a 14-year-old within the same fandom, and this person took zero accountability and even victim blamed. That's really disgusting, and we need to talk about it. Hi everyone, my name is Saphera Noma, but you can call me Saf. As always, please do not harass anybody mentioned in this video. This is merely for informational purposes. Content warning for this video is that we are going to be talking about pedophilic behavior and non-consensual fantasies, which include mentions of assault. If you do not have the stomach for it, please be sure to take care of yourself and your own mental well-being first and foremost. Well, let's go over briefly the history of why these fan accounts are called virus accounts. With the help of a friend, we found this on Reddit, which says, during the height of the pandemic, YouTube would mistakenly think that any video with corona in the title was talking about the coronavirus and would put a warning under the video. Someone saw that and made a coronavirus account as a joke. Other fans followed suit with their own Oshi. So ultimately, it seems to be a joke within the Hololive community and primarily explains why most of the virus accounts I've seen so far have been, well, for Hololive and some Holostars members. Also, Oshi for the uninitiated to VTuber culture simply means favorite or somebody you support and are a fan of. Anyway, we have this account named RissaVirus, also known as RissaV for short, or Marro, who is basically a fan account for Narissa Ravencroft, a VTuber in Hololive. Now, I'm personally unfamiliar with VTuber stan accounts and how their community is in general, as I really do not interact a whole lot with that space, minus a few well-known artists within certain communities. In my personal case, I stick with mostly the Battalion, which is the community name for the Gavis Battle fans. Psst, go watch Holostars. But considering RissaVirus has over 10,000 followers on Twitter and only seems to post about Hololive here, it can be assumed they were considered a pillar of the Twitter community, and maybe even a well-known virus account. So imagine everyone's surprise when one day on the evening of September 2nd, 2024, a young 15-year-old had the strength to come out about her negative interactions with an adult who is 1 year away from finishing college. Since she is a minor, I have gone ahead and censored her name for her protection. Her initial tweet about the situation begins as follows. Oh yeah, BTW, RissaV did assault me. I was 14 and she was 20 at the time. Minors cannot consent and therefore what she did to me was unconsensual. You will never believe what that's called. Also, I'm definitely gonna post some screenshots once I get back home. 13 minutes later, she posts her list of screenshots and starts her thread with the following. By the way, since she doesn't want to admit it, here is a thread of the worst things RissaV has said to me. Among them, admitting to wanting to me and showing no care for my age. Also, some of my messages are blurred because I'm ashamed of ever falling into this and playing along. Now, the screenshot she shares is truly heinous and disgusting. Honestly, it's hard for even me to stomach because the stuff in here is worse than the shit that I see in the worst of fanfictions and cringy RP with chatbots. Also, because this is on YouTube, I have to heavily censor everything, so I apologize if things look pretty much unreadable, or like an SCP redacted document. I'm also not going to read these, but you can pause and see for yourself. But there's often talk here about how Marro wants to dominate, abuse, grape, and quote, fill a literal child's womb. These pitiful texts seem painfully desperate and come off as an insecure bottom who so desperately wants to imagine themselves to be a big, unstoppable, baddie alpha dom. These things are just cringe as all hell. If this were Omegaverse, you'd be an Omega with a severe alpha complex. And no, I will not further elaborate for the uninitiated. If you know, you know. And to make things worse for Marro, there is evidence of discussion between these cringe, pitiful excuses of erotic roleplay, where Marro says that they are 1 year from finishing up college, and the minor confirms in the very same breath that they are in 9th grade. And all Marro had to say to that was, pretty sizable gap sob emoji. And continue to dirty talk the next day because they have the libido of a rabbit with simply no morals. Their dirty talk continues with more cringe erotic roleplay with the same as stated earlier. Enjoy more censored cringe to assault your eyeballs. There is also a section where Marro says, gosh, it's unbelievable how hard I've fallen for you. And a 15-year-old has me on my knees, LMAO. Bro, imagine knowing and continuing to interact inappropriately with a minor. You're a sick fuck, dude. The minor has a third tweet that says, "These are just some of the worst offenders from the 30 plus screenshots I took from our conversations. And yeah, judge for yourself. And Maro's down bad levels are so down in the gutter that they'll continue trying to fulfill their sick fantasies by ERPing with the minor while she's literally in school, doing homework, with pics of her homework. This person's insane for real." The response to the minor's call-out thread was thankfully mostly that of sympathy and hoping that she will be alright. Of course, you always have those occasional freaks that somehow excuse literal predatory behavior, but there's a reason those freaks are equally as bad and should probably get their hard drives checked for real. For instance, you have this one Callie fan account that's literally arguing the most brain-dead takes of, "Why didn't you reveal this earlier?" and "Can you please watch over her?" Like, are you insane? Why would we watch over a literal pedophile? Get the fuck out. Also, fun fact, dumbass, people talking about their abusers is always hard to take the first step, especially since this minor has pretty much little significant following in comparison to RissaV on Twitter. Now, what about RissaVirus' own statement? Well, technically, their apology statement came out before the minor's screenshots, and it was because RissaV's apology statement was so dog shit that these screenshots had to come out in the first place. Let's read that terrible apology together, shall we? "I am writing this letter as an apology to the victim for sending inappropriate messages being well aware of her age. I feel very sorry for my actions and I accept that what I did is a serious action that harms both me and the victim. Words are not enough to heal what I have caused and I understand it perfectly. I'm ashamed of myself and I realize now that I'm a piece of shit. I do not wish to be related to Narissa or anyone in the community, since it's me who were aware of my actions." Now, this first part seems alright. Not the best, but hey, at least they apologize directly to the victim by name, admitting to the allegations, that they are a piece of shit, and that they are distancing themselves from their Oshi, Narissa, who, by the way, I should remind, has no bearing on the situation. Please do not bother her. But the next part of the statement is bad. Real bad. "But I will now say that she wanted me to admit to rape and assault, things that did not happen since we don't even live in the same country. I won't defend myself about the inappropriate messages, but I won't accept stuff that is plain wrong and that takes this to a whole other situation. I never forced her to do anything. But again, still not a justification for any inappropriate message considering her age. Screenshots will surely be posted, but given her history in this community, those screenshots might well be manipulated to make them seem worse than they actually are. I did wrong, but I won't tolerate blackmail with misinformation. I never exploited her. I never forced her. Again, I apologize and I full take accountability of sending inappropriate messages." And my dude dead. Anytime you say sorry but, everything before the but just became invalidated. Not only does Maro start to victim blame and discredit the victim, but they're out here trying to act as if no crime ever took place. Bro, you literally sexted a minor and talked inappropriately and explicitly in a sexual manner with the literal child. You fantasized and most likely beat your meat to the idea, the notion, of taking advantage of a child. This is sick and inexcusable. Saying you never exploited her, never forced her, is absolutely disgusting. Minors cannot give consent. I should not have to repeat myself, but in case you didn't know, minors cannot give consent, and you, as the adult in the situation, should know better than to interact disgustingly with the minor in the first place. Pushing the blame onto the child when the adult knows better is fucking insane person behavior, and this person needs to get off the internet and go seek help for real. Not to mention that apparently the day before, they got wind that the allegations about their disgusting history with the minor were going to be exposed, and they had this to say in a Discord server. The fuck I didn't. Like, ugh, I'll write the thing. The absolute reluctance, the tone of simply seemingly bothered and inconvenienced by it all is absolutely whack. Thankfully, the response to the situation was very much against this person. Many called this person rightfully a predator, a PDF file, and to never be in this fandom or the internet ever again. Unfortunately, despite the overwhelming response condemning this person's heinous actions, there's still a few occasional weirdos who pop up here and there wishing them well and to come back, and that somehow sexting a minor isn't psychologically damaging at all. Alright weirdos, FBI, go put these people on a watch list. Anyway, Morrow seems to have darkened their profile picture, removed their bio, replaced it with "see ya later, I appreciate the love throughout this month, I'm sorry to disappoint heart," and seems to have left their account after this apology. But by the next day, their account is no longer around. May they stay off the internet for good and never ever interact with a minor ever again, and may your Oshi always dislike you and never read your messages or supas ever again. Regarding the minor in question, she had this to say on September 3rd, 2024. Finally home. God, today has been really overwhelming so far, positive. But I want to thank you all for all of the support you've been giving me. I just want to say that mentally I'm completely fine because I didn't get scarred by her actions too much, so please don't worry. I just don't really like it when bad people get away with bad stuff. Again, this happened some time ago and I've definitely matured a lot since then, and only because of that have I actually gained the courage to speak up about this. So yeah, TBH, I never expected any of the tweets to gain as much attention as they did, but I'm very glad they did. Once again, thank y'all for all of the kind words, I appreciate it a ton. And while I'm glad she's currently doing mentally well, it might take some time to decompile all that more properly as she gets older. But for now, she seems to be well, and I wish nothing but the best and for her to heal and be safe going forward. And well, that would have been the end of the initial list of evidences, but unfortunately, this was not an isolated incident. 2 other victims have spoken out about their equally harrowing experiences with RissaV. I'm unsure of their ages, but considering RissaV seems to have a thing for the mentally prone, which, minor or not, is incredibly disgusting to essentially groom vulnerable individuals into being their sexual partner. If they are minors, it's just clear evidence that this person is a straight-up predator and needs to never, ever have interactions with children again. Jail would be great, honestly. But our second victim shares their story with, "They also tried to take advantage of me when I was depressed back in December. They were also in a relationship then, and when I realized what had happened, I immediately notified their partner at the time and they got it sorted, while I was stuck in limbo whether to post or not." Their screenshots speak for themselves as RissaV is yet again trying so desperately to fulfill their dreams of being a dom, and it's absolutely repulsive, especially since they were doing this while in an existing relationship. The individual says, "The most damning thing was that they didn't learn from the situation and proceeded to find their next target." To which I agree that this is evidence of RissaV's consistent predatory behavior. A third victim spoke out as well. "I do not wish to expound more about my personal experience with RissaV. I just want people to know that I am a victim as well. Please excuse me for omitting my responses, I am shameful of it. And that there is, of course, so much more than this. I just do not want to go out of my way to look for these because I am genuinely traumatized by this. And of course, there is no reason to expound on it further, and no harm in hiding what you were ashamed of, especially if it is something that is traumatic and not something that you wish to remember." In the screenshots, RissaV is yet again repeating what they've done before with the previous victims as recently as June of this year. It's terrible to see that this person who was once considered a pillar of a fandom community was secretly using their popularity within the space to seek out and prey on vulnerable individuals to carry out their sick fantasies. This is no more than a sex pest, and there could be even more people that were hurt who have yet to find the courage in themselves to come out with their stories. I'm deeply sorry for everyone who's been hurt, and all I can hope is that they will be able to recover and heal from this. None of this would have come to light if it were not for these 3 brave individuals to speak out in the first place. And at the very least, RissaV seems to have fled their platform. Whether RissaV stays off the internet is a whole other issue, one that may never be known, but I hope that this video at the very least can help spread awareness. I know there may be some controversy over whether I should have covered this in the first place. However, I believe that exposing these crimes onto various platforms is ultimately for the better, especially when said predator has already admitted to terrible behavior and took zero accountability before attempting to flee. With how easy it is for people to make fake identities on social media and interact with a variety of people across the World Wide Web, I simply hope that coverages of stories like these can ultimately be of more help than harm in the long run. I also personally believe that whatever is publicly available is open to commentary, and I simply hope that those who are longtime viewers of my channel understand that I am never here to sensationalize or dramatize such serious topics. I wish to remain respectful to every victim whenever I make videos on topics such as these, always, and that does ultimately mean having to make the decision to amplify their voices onto other platforms where I am able to. Posts made on Twitter, after all, are all too unfortunately easily forgotten to the sands of time. and certain stories should not ever be simply forgotten to all but the victims' psyches. As a community and as a social species, we all need to look out for one another, especially since 2024 and perhaps the future have given rise to the exposure of many predators in recent memory and to come. Also, to clarify, this is not to say that everyone with a virus account or a stan account is bad, or that the fandom communities are dangerous. No, most fandoms have normal people who do normal stuff. However, predators can be everywhere in any space, and that is why everyone needs to remain vigilant. This is a friendly reminder to any minors watching that you need to keep yourself safe. The internet is inherently, at its core, not safe for children. If an adult approaches you and tries to solicit adult things from you, do not listen to them. Instead, report them to the authorities if you can, and block them. Keep yourself safe. You only have one childhood. Cherish it the best you can. If you are an adult, you must remain responsible. Never approach a minor with evil intent to do harm. Even fictional roleplay in an erotic manner is PDF file behavior and disgusting. If you are interacting with a minor, if you really need to beat your meat, maybe consider stop being a freak sexualizing literal children and go find adults to have consensual relations with to live out your sick fantasies. It's not hard to be normal. It really ain't. And that's about all on this case for today. It's rare to see controversies from within fandom spaces result in such heinous crimes, and it's just disappointing that this is once again another story of many groomers and predators within the VTuber sphere as a whole, even if this time it is within the fan base itself of popular VTubers who most likely have no idea that this is going on. It makes sense that both children and adults would have contact within such a confined space online, especially when the corporate VTuber is a prolific content creator that appeals to all ages. But it's also all the more reason why both adults have the responsibility to be the adults in a situation, and why minors need to better protect themselves online in this dangerous space. Be safe, everyone. When in doubt, just don't do stuff and keep that shit to yourself. Easy. Well, until next time, everyone, keep it vibing and be safe. Bye!